Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another fantasy football video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Week 3 wide receiver start or sit questions. Before I start the video, I'd like to ask if you could please go down below and hit that subscribe button, because not only does it help me, it's also going to help you guys, because I release so many videos every single day that are going to help you guys dominate your fantasy football season and win your fantasy football championship. So please click that subscribe button down below. Also follow me on Twitter, also down below, at NotoriousFNTSY for daily updates, funny shit that I think of off my head. Let's get into the video. So the first game here is the Thursday night football game, the greatest Thursday night football game from every year. The Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. So at the wide receiver position, you're just going to be starting Mr. DJ Shark, the baby shark. He is Gardner Minshew's favorite target on the field. D.D. Westbrook is canceled by him. He said, "Fuck you, D.D. Westbrook. I am Gardner Minshew, and I don't give a fuck if you're the best wide receiver on the field. I'm not going to throw the ball your way." He likes DJ Shark, and that's how he's going to be rolling. So you're going to just be setting every other wide receiver in this game. Corey Davis is a sorry-ass receiver. A.J. Brown, probably going to score, 9 points? That's not fun. Chris Connolly, or Coney, as I like to type here. Chris Connolly, not going to be that good either. D.D. Westbrook probably won't do anything. Just start Mr. D.J. Shark. Next game here is my Miami Dolphins at the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to be starting Mr. Amari Cooper in this game. Now, hopefully you guys cannot hear the ice cream man who decided to come by during my video. So Amari Cooper, with Michael Gallup's injury, should be seeing an uptick in targets. The Dolphins defense is trash. They got eviscerated by the Patriots week 2, by the Ravens week 1. It's going to be light work for Dak Prescott and friends. Amari Cooper going to destroy. Devin Smith, definitely a flex play, potential wide receiver 2 on the week. Randall Cobb, potential flex play as well. I am going to be sitting all the Dolphins wide receivers, Devontae Parker, and every single person in Miami. Like I said last video, like you have no shot of starting anyone on the Dolphins. It's like an embarrassment to my life personally. It's an embarrassment, so you don't want anyone on the Dolphins. The next game is the Bengals at the Buffalo Bills. Now, you're going to be starting John Brown of the Bills. Obviously, he is Mr. Josh Allen's favorite number 1 target on the team. We saw at the end of last year, it was Robert Foster and Josh Allen, the connection of dreams that was forming you guys excellent fantasy weeks. Now, Robert Foster has been canceled. It is the John Brown show. John Brown, Josh Allen. Good start there. Cole Beasley, obviously a PPR option, a guy that's going to be seeing a bunch of targets and probably play pretty solid for you. Don't necessarily love playing him as my wide receiver 2. He's more of a flex option. And then we have John Ross, the sauce boss on the Bengals. Dude is destroying every single week. He's making all the haters, everyone who said that he was just fast, make them look stupid. He's playing great. I'm definitely starting him. And then Tyler, Boyd is a great start as well. I love Tyler Boyd every single week. He is a great starter. Now, John Ross, eventually his day will, or his time will be numbered with the team. Not really with the team, but with the starting team, because AJ Green's eventually going to come back, and it'll be the AJ Green and Tyler Boyd show. The next game here is the Lions at the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this should come as pretty obvious to you. You're going to be starting Kenny Golladay. Kenny Golladay had an amazing week last week for the Lions. I don't think he'll score, say, 28 points like he scored last week, but he should be up there in the high 10s. Marvin Jones, always a solid flex option, a guy that Matt Stafford loves to target. Both of these guys are pretty much must starts every single week. And then on the Eagles side of the ball, I'm going to start Nelson Aguilar. Now, that is because Alshon Jeffrey injured. Deshaun Jackson injured. I don't think either of them are going to play this week, so Nelson Aguilar is going to be the wide receiver 1. While he has feet for hands and was wide open down the stretch against Atlanta on Monday night, could have scored the game. Could have scored and won them the game. Would have been glorious. Nope. He has hands for feet, or fucking feet for hands, dropped the ball. It was embarrassing. Should be better this week, though. Nelson Aguilar is a guy that you were able to rely upon last year. I don't see why you couldn't rely upon him now with these injuries. The next game here is the Jets at the New England Patriots. This should be a smackdown of the century. You're going to be starting, obviously, AB, Julian Edelman, Flash Gordon. I know Jules and Flash Gordon disappointed last week, and AB caught that touchdown, caught a bunch of balls. I'm still confident in starting all of them every single week. It's hard to just sit them down. And I'm going to be sitting Robbie Anderson and Jamison Crowder from the Jets. Now, with Luke Falk being the quarterback, it does not look too great for the Jets, the Jumbo Jets. So, I mean, if I had to start one of them, it'd be Robbie Anderson. But you have to be in a kind of a deep league to even be comfortable starting Robbie A. Next game here is the Atlanta Dirty Birds versus the Indianapolis Colts. Adam Vinatieri did not retire after absolutely skull fucking your fantasy team and the Colts 2 weeks in a row. We cannot be having this. We can't be having that if you're a Colts fan. I'm not a Colts fan. I don't know why I said we. Can't be having that. Hopefully, Adam Vinatieri plays better this week. You're going to be starting Julio Jones for the Falcons, Calvin Ridley also for the Falcons. Last week, Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones had pretty solid games. Now, if Matt Ryan was more accurate, it seemed like Calvin Ridley may have had like 90 touchdowns that game, but he didn't look too great, but I'm still comfortable starting those guys. Now, I'm also comfortable starting T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton has had amazing games week in and week out, so I'm pretty comfortable starting T.Y. Hilton again. Well, not amazing, but just comparable for where you drafted him, and you probably feel pretty confident with Jacoby B throwing in the ball. And you're going to be sitting down Paris Campbell. Now, I know Paris Campbell had a good game last week, but you can't anticipate that every week from the young gun Paris Campbell. The next game here is the Oakland Raiders versus at the Minnesota Vikings. You're going to be starting Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. Now, Stephon Diggs scored that big touchdown last week for you, saved your life. Adam Thielen catching a lot of balls, like both of them this week going up against the Raiders. Now, Tyrell Williams is a start, but he's going to be a sit if he ends up being hurt with this hip pointer is what it's called. I have no idea what the fuck that is. Doesn't sound good, though, but hopefully he plays this week. Knock one time if you're with me. And then you're going to be sitting Mr. Hunter Renfrow, the guy who looks like he's 30 years old, but he's actually 22. The next game here is the game of the week. My game of the week, in my opinion, should be America's game of the week, but I think that the whatever company signs that shit, the NFL game of the week is just always the 4 o'clock game, because on Red Zone you could just see that's like NFL game of the week when like 3 games kick off. No, this is the game of the week. The Ravens at the Chiefs. You're going to be firing up for the Ravens. Hollywood Brown. Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? This guy is fucking great. Week 1, skull fucked your opponent if you somehow played him. Week 2, saw an uptick in targets and receptions. This week, he's going to go hard in the paint against the Chiefs. This is going to be an amazing game. Now for the Chiefs, you're going to be starting all 3 of their main wide receivers. Mr. Mecole Hardman. Mecole Hardman, 1 touchdown last week, some good yardage, had 1 called back. Probably would have went for 30 fantasy points last week if that didn't get called back. Sammy Watkins, the Lizard King, as coveted by the fantasy footballers. I would start Sammy Watkins this week. I know he disappointed you last week, but week 1, he played amazing. And then Demarcus Robinson had an amazing game week 2. Am I super comfortable in Robinson this week? No. Will I start him? Yes. We're going to be firing up all 3 of these guys this week up against the Ravens defense that, in my opinion, may end up being a bit overrated. The next game here is the Broncos at the Green Bay Cheesehead fucks the Packers. You're going to be starting Davante Adams. Davante Adams disappointed week 1. And you know what he said to all of you haters who believed that he was going to be bad week 2? He said, fuck you. And he scored. And I don't even remember if he scored, but he played amazing week 2, got like 17 PPR points, was great. He's great every single week. You drafted him highly, you play him. Emmanuel Sanders looked like the only comparable wide receiver for the Broncos last week going up against the Chicago Bears. Now they're playing the Packers, both solid defenses, but I think Emmanuel Sanders and Joe Flacco have that connection. He's going to be getting a lot of work. They're going to be sitting down every other wide receiver in this game. Geronimo Allison, not looking too hot. I mean, week 1, goose egg. Week 2, played pretty good. Who will it be week 3? Who fucking knows? Once they figure it out there on offense, then I'm going to be comfortable starting Geronimo and MVS, but for now, they're both sits. Now, Cortland Sutton, not playing great for the Broncos until the end of the game. Confident sitting him, and Deshaun Hamilton not really doing anything. You don't even want him on your team. The next game here is the Panthers at the Arizona Cardinals. Cam Newton, Mr. Walking Boot, going up against the guy who is 5 feet tall in Kyler Murray. You're going to be starting DJ Moore. Now, I know Cam Newton injured, so you do have to temper your expectation for DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel. You got to temper those expectations. I don't think that DJ Moore will be all that bad if it's Will Grier, but I would temper my expectations for Curtis Samuel, who's a down-the-field threat. If Cam's good to go, I'm going to be starting both of them. And then on the Cardinals, Larry Fitz and Christian Kirk seem like every single week starts, especially Larry Fitz. It seems like Kyler Murray has found Larry Fitz every single game. He's just always open. He looks great. He may be 9,000 years old, but he's always open. So Larry Fitz and Christian Kirk are starts this week. The next game, we have the Giants at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're going to be starting Mr. Mike Evans and the People's wide receiver 1, Chris Godwin. Now, I know Chris Godwin's not actually the wide receiver one on the team. It's Mike Evans. Mike Evans has struggled 2 games in a row. Really struggled week 1 due to that illness. Did not have that Michael Jordan flu game. He just played like shit. Week 2 played okay. He disappointed you, but he didn't absolutely destroy your team. This week, I'm confident the Giants are terrible. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin should have a good game. Now, you're going to be sitting Sterling Shepard if he plays. If he plays, you're sitting him. If he's fucking dead on the corner, you're fucking sitting him. And then you're going to be also sitting Cody Latimer and the Giants' friends. You don't want anything to do with those guys. The next game here is the Steelers at the San Francisco 49ers. You're going to be starting Juju. Now, you need to temper your expectation for this whole Steelers offense, all the wide receivers. Mason Rudolph should be pretty good. So start Juju. You can start James Washington. Don't love starting James Washington, but you can start him. And I'm just going to sit all the 49ers wide receivers. In my opinion, some people love Deebo Samuel. Go ahead and play Deebo Samuel if you want. But I don't think that. I think every single week, the top scorer on this team may be a different person. Week 1, it was someone. Week 2, it was Deebo. Week 3, it may be fucking Dante Pettis. So who knows? It's like Russian roulette. You don't want to be playing that game. Sit them all down. Next game, we have the Texans going up against the LA Chargers. You're going to be starting D-Hop. DeAndre Hopkins is an every single week start. He's amazing every single week. I'm comfortable starting him every single week. Now, on the Chargers side of the ball, we are going to be starting Keenan Allen. He is one of the best route runners in the NFL, and I'm very comfortable starting him week number 3. And then on the other side, and on the same side of the ball, Mike Williams. I know he was dealing with that injury last week. The injury did not seem to phase him at all. Played pretty good last week. Scored that tutty. Looked good. Mike Williams is a pretty. I believe he scored a touchdown. If he didn't, I'm just off the rocker right now, guys. Just talking. So I'm pretty sure he scored a touchdown last week, and I am going to Google it on my phone so that we know for sure if he did not score last week. I spread some fake news, but he did have a pretty solid game, 3 for 87, so I am confident in Mike Williams this week. So you are going to be sitting down Kiki Kuti, Will Fuller, and Kenny Stills, all of the Texans wide receivers. Will Fuller is the only one of those that I would be even somewhat comfortable in starting, but they're all sits because I'm not comfortable really at all starting any of them. The next game here is the New Orleans Saints led by, who knows? I'm making this video at 9:18 at 4:10 p.m. You're probably seeing this around like 6, maybe 5. I don't know when I'm fucking uploading it, but hopefully we don't know right now if it's Teddy Roosevelt, Teddy Biscuits, Teddy B, or if it is, oh my God, how did I forget his name? Oh, Taysom Hill is his name. Taysom Hill. Could be either of them. So the Saints versus the Seahawks, I'm going to be starting Michael Thomas, but with lowered expectations. Who knows how the quarterback play will be this week? I think it should be better because they're not just being thrown into the game. They had a week of practice, so I am more comfortable this week, but don't love Michael Thomas, but obviously you have to start him. On the Seahawks side of the ball, Russell Wilson will be throwing dots to Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett way more involved last week than week 1. Obviously, week 1, he had 2 targets, 1 catch, 1 tutty for 44 yards. Now, DK Metcalf is also involved in the offense. Definitely comfortable starting him. He's more of a flex play, though. And they're going to be sitting down Traquan Smith and all of the friends on the Saints. Ted Ginn. Don't be starting any of those guys. The next game here is the Rams at the Rams at the Browns, which is the Sunday night special. The Browns 2 weeks in a row getting a prime time game. You're going to be starting Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp of the Rams. I know Robert Woods disappointed last week. Brandon Cooks and Cooper Kupp had solid games. Every single week, you're going to be throwing all 3 of these guys out. What the fuck? Browns team, we're going to be starting OBJ. OBJ had an amazing game week 2. I think he could pop off again week 3 against the Rams. And then Jarvis Juice Landry, you could start him. Temper your expectations, though. He hasn't played all that great this year. The final game here, Monday Night Football. We got the Bears at the Redskins. You're going to be starting Scary Terry McLaurin. This guy is amazing. I don't know I honestly didn't even really know who he was until week 1, if I'm being completely honest with you. This guy is a legend. Case Keenum and him have some type of internal connection, some godlike connection. Scary Terry can do good against the Bears. I'm confident in it. And then A-Rob from the Bears is the only wide receiver going to be starting. There's Taylor Gabriel and fucking friends. You don't want anything to do with them. Don't start them. A-Rob and Scary Terry for this game. So thank you guys all for watching. I love every single one of you guys. Everyone who watches my videos, whether you've subscribed, you've unsubscribed, you hate me, doesn't matter. I still love you. Click that subscribe button if you enjoyed. Click that like button. Leave a comment if you got any questions. Now, if you have any questions, please say what type of league you're in. You say, should I start Scary Terry or should I start Antonio Brown? Leave standard PPR, half PPR next to that. Makes it a lot easier to answer the question. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Goodbye.